Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. First tonight, a man has been found dead in the ruins of a house fire in the Huon Valley overnight. Authorities aren't speculating on the circumstances of the blaze as they continue investigations.
Police and fire investigators examining the remains of a Geeveston home, destroyed by flames in the early hours of this morning. Emergency crews were called to the 4-foot road address shortly after midnight. The house unable to be saved, completely burnt to the ground, with a nearby shed also receiving internal damage. In the wreckage, a tragic discovery.
Tragically, the emergency services located the body of an adult in that dwelling, in the bedroom of that dwelling.
Authorities are still working to confirm how the person died, spending today combing through evidence and door knocking in the local area.
We believe the person is the 63-year-old male resident. However, inquiries are still continuing in regards to that.
Investigators remained on the scene here at Geeveston throughout the morning, working to determine the cause of the blaze.
With the house being completely burnt to the ground, a painstaking investigation is currently occurring to examine everything to see whether there are any suspicious circumstances.
Police say the resident was reported to have been seen in an agitated state before the incident.
The male occupant was last reported seen at approximately 5:30 last night. He was in an agitated state outside his residence. He was alone.
Anybody with information about the fire is urged to contact police. A report will be prepared for the coroner. Ebony Ablett, 7 Tasmania News.
A Tasmanian logging operation has been hit by dangerous sabotage, with concealed bolts found in timber. At one sawmill, they hit a spike, causing thousands of dollars damage to equipment. It's lucky the consequences weren't deadly.
Scanning this log and making a concerning discovery. The head of a bolt poking through the surface, the second one found here at Karanja Timbers.
It's had a hole drilled in the log, the bolt's placed in the hole, and it was siliconed in to stop the bolt falling out. Very much on edge, very, very towy, because we just don't know. We don't know what can be done.
One bolt hit yesterday by a breaking down saw, severely damaging the $1,500 tool, but the manager says it could have been much worse.
By the grace of God, I hit it. Otherwise, it would have gone to a bench where the saw spins 3 times the speed and there's a man stands in front of it. It can cause death. It's simple as that.
The logs came from Wentworth Hills and were also taken to Mackay Timber at Bridgewater. There, another 3 bolts were reported. Environmental activist groups strongly condemning the sabotage, saying anti-logging action, including 10 activists rallying near Mount Field today, are always peaceful.
Our Bob Brown Foundation condemns these actions. Our non-violent direct actions are always out in front, proudly standing up, saying, here we are, this is what we're doing to defend forests.
Police and WorkSafe investigations into the matter now underway.
It's been referred to police and we'll be following it up. It's a shocking act. It's extremely dangerous for the sawmillers and it can be very dangerous to those putting the logs through.
We take workplace safety absolutely as a high priority, of highest priority in any workplace right across Tasmania, and any such actions we condemn in the strongest possible terms.
Ruby Kamain, 7 Tasmania News.
Search and rescue teams are currently battling challenging weather conditions to reach a 19-year-old Rosebery woman from a remote Tasmanian hiking spot. The hiker called for medical assistance yesterday at Mount Murchison in the state's west. But significant wind and rain grounded the Westpac rescue helicopter overnight, forcing rescuers to complete the mission by foot. Tasmania has had another day in the clear with no new coronavirus cases reported. The latest results released last night show there are 14 active cases in the northwest, 1 in the north, while the southern region doesn't have any confirmed active cases. Authorities continue to ask anyone with cold or flu-like symptoms to contact their GP or the public health hotline so they can be tested for the disease. From tomorrow, Tasmanians will be issued with on-the-spot fines if they flout coronavirus restrictions. Our reporter Sean McComish joins us now to discuss the changes. And Sean, it's not exactly a cheap fine.
Good evening, Kim. No, not at all. Individuals will be slugged up to $756 for breaking the rules, while body corporates could face fines of up to $4,900. It coincides with returning non-essential travellers now being able to self-quarantine from home. Today, police also provided a snapshot into the number of compliance checks undertaken since March, a staggering 13,000. More than half of those have been in the northwest following the outbreak. It's not known how many people have actually been found breaking the rules. Police say communication will remain their main tool.
But if there are blatant breaches and people persist in breaking the rules, well then they could be issued a caution notice or a penalty notice, or in fact be arrested or summoned still.
And police are reminding the public that if public spaces or shops are busy, just use some common sense and go back later. Kim?
The state's fresh food industry has been given a much-needed boost, with the government announcing new freight flights between Hobart and Sydney. The service will help restart local seafood exports by providing a link to restaurants across the country.
A saviour in the sky to rescue an industry drowning under the water. 2 flights a week to depart the Hobart tarmac, helping restart the seafood industry after COVID-19.
Now everything's getting back online, both domestically and internationally. We're very hopeful that we can be back to a level of business as usual soon.
The state and federal governments joining forces to subsidise the freight link to the tune of $19,000 per flight.
We need to ensure that we support our exporters get back on their feet.
Planes will take to the skies from next Wednesday, each carrying 15 tonnes of fresh produce, including abalone, lobster, oysters, lettuce and dairy. As hospitality slowly emerges from the darkness of the pandemic shutdown, demand for the Tasmanian product is already growing.
It's into the supermarkets, into the restaurants and into the homes of those people who are willing to pay a premium price for that.
But a $1 billion black hole could be left in the local market if tensions between China and Australia continue to escalate.
I'm confident that any issue that there is can be resolved as it has been in the past.
While the fresh food sector moves forward, the Master Builders Association is calling on local councils to fast-track major projects.
We know that for every dollar spent on major projects, it creates $2.90 in economic activity across the economy.
A number of councils say they have proposals shovel-ready, but first want to concentrate on moving out of the crisis. Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
Recreational fishers and Labor are calling on the state government to allow boaties back on the water. Tasmanians are currently restricted from launching a boat outside of their municipal area.
Our understanding is that we can hook our boat on the back of the car, go to a place like St Helens, come home the same day, but the ambiguity with it all is that we're not allowed to launch at a boat ramp, and we just find that very confusing.
So we know now that we can leave your council area to ride a bike, to go shopping or walk the dog, but you can't launch a boat, and that's having a big impact on recreational fishers. They want to go fishing.
There are no restrictions on fishing from piers or other sites. The government says all decisions are informed by public health advice. If you've ever dreamed of owning a church, your prayers could be answered. A rare and renovated Anglican church in the Northern Midlands is up for grabs.
At 142 years old, the former St Andrew's Church in Perth hasn't always looked this impressive.
I think it'd be safe to say bordering on derelict. It's a real credit and a labour of love to the owners.
Luke and Chantal Pitt purchased and restored the site in 2015. Now the sale sign is back up, and it's a rare find, to put it lightly.
Churches are not that often on the market. Traditionally, when churches have been renovated, they're not done to this level or in this way.
Living here required some thinking inside the box. A cube was added to the centre of the church. Inside are 2 kids' bedrooms, with the master bedroom perched above. A kitchen and living room has been added in an extension. It's not all modern features. The original church bell is still here. Best not to annoy the neighbours with that too much though. As for the price...
Look, it's such a unique property. That's something that obviously we've thrown around, and hence why we actually do have it as expressions of interest.
It might take more than what's in the collection plate. Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
Well, Kingston has emerged as the state's worst spot for roadkill, according to new insurance data. Figures compiled by Amy show the worst collision hotspots include Launceston, Cambridge, Hobart and Georgetown. The insurer is warning wildlife deaths will spike over winter, despite fewer cars on the roads. The Tasmanian Community Fund has dug deep into its war chest, offering $3.5 million in dedicated coronavirus funding. The grants are available to any not-for-profit organisations across the state. It's in addition to the charity's annual $4 million of community funding.
Those streams are about supporting, they're about connecting, and they're about rebuilding.
Applications for both support packages will open over the next 2 months. Tasmania's Derwent Valley has featured on national television as part of Sunrise's A to Z tour of Australia.
Guys, let's welcome our new friends who've joined us. The letter N today is for...
Across the morning, the program featured the historic Willow Court precinct, the highly rated agrarian kitchen, a headstand in the middle of the Derwent, and the stunning Mountfield National Park.
While I've been standing here, the platypus has swum past, and we've had paddy melons, our little wallabies, hopping by as well. It truly is a remarkable place.
When the world's gone crazy, you need to go somewhere like that. That is so perfect. Thank you for sharing.
A local handwriting expert also analysed samples from the Sunrise team. Cheerio to our new Norfolk viewers tonight.
Good evening. Well, rain fell overnight and this morning, mainly over the north, with a few showers developing elsewhere later. Hobart 16, Launceston and Devonport 15 today, and Burnie 14. Top was 17 at Friendly Beaches. St Helens 16 degrees, Flinders Island, Grove and Ouse 15, King Island and Low Head 14, Strawn 13 degrees. Now here's the cloud with the first rain band bringing 48 millimetres to Pine Tree Rivulet, while after 9 a.m. the best fall was 9 millimetres at Mount Barrow. The frontal cloud also affected parts of South Australia and Victoria. Low cloud over sections of Western Australia, high cloud over Queensland and the NT. Tomorrow a high wanders into view over Western Australia, extending a ridge to the east. A front moves through eastern New South Wales. Winds west to southwesterly at 15 to 25 knots, reaching 30 knots over the north and east and later over the south. Swells picking up to 5 and 6 metres. Strong wind warning for all Tasmanian coastal waters between Cape Portland and Sandy Cape. Hobart expecting a high of just 13 tomorrow, partly cloudy. Same for Cygnet, and 13 the top for New Norfolk. Launceston tomorrow, a high of 14 degrees, 3 overnight and partly cloudy. Devonport a top of 14, 2 overnight for Campbelltown, a high of 12 tomorrow. Becoming cloudy for Burnie, 13 the high, just 12 for Strawn with a few showers. Smithton 13 degrees. And 14 the top for St Helens, Swansea 14 as well, Fingal mostly sunny and 13. Now to Friday, fine apart from a shower over the west and far south, partly cloudy over the north on Saturday with showers over the west and south extending to the east, and on Sunday fine for most but a possible shower for the east and southeast. Sunny in Perth tomorrow, a possible shower for Adelaide, showers easing from Melbourne and rain right up the eastern seaboard. And it's cloudy in Hobart, 13 degrees, raining over Launceston 12 at the moment and showery over Devonport and 12. Showers in the north over the last couple of days, Kim, but over the weekend more of the showers will shift to the south and southeast.
That's all your news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us. Good night.